Imagine this, you're a young boy, what, 4, 5, you got one brother, one sister, and you live in a house, yeah? But it's all in flats. You've got 2 rooms, everyone lives in one room. You've got another room which is like a living room, but mum sleeps in that room, but all the others sleep in the other room. You're in bunk beds and this, that and the other, yeah? Your mum can't cope. She's got 3 kids. She's got 3 or 4 jobs because your dad died. My dad died when I was 1 year of age, so I never really had a dad. At that time, I was a bit of a pain in the arse with my mum. I was always doing things that kids do, but more so I was a bit of a bad boy, yeah. And your mum can't cope with you, so your mum gives you, maybe in the daytime, certain times of the day, when you should be at school, but the school don't really want you at that time, because you're being a pain in the butt. So your mum gives you to her sister-in-law and her brother, yeah? You go to the house, you've only got a pair of shorts on, maybe a little t-shirt or something like a jumper. You go in the house, and every day, some person comes down the stairs and he takes you upstairs to play with him, yeah? To play games. And you're playing games for what it seems like ever. For months and months and months you're playing games. Your mum's picking you up, you're getting on the bus, trolley bus, you're going home. And then you start having really, really bad headaches, yeah? Crying all night, being sick. I don't know, mum don't know why, but you're being sick, headaches, and you're hiding. You never stop hiding. You don't want to come out the cold bunker. You're hiding in the cold bunker. You've got a little mouse you play with. Everything's sort of like crazy. It's gone upside down in your world, yeah? And then they accept you back at school. You go back to school, and then they start really, really fighting. You're fighting all the kids. You can't stop. You're throwing things around the classrooms, and they can't help. They can't control you. So your mum takes you back to her sister-in-laws, and they're looking after you while mum goes to work, and she picks you up late at night. But all this time, every day, or every couple of days, or whatever it is, I can't really remember that much. You're going upstairs to your uncle's bedroom, and you're playing games. But the games you're playing with are games that are not right to play, but you don't know because you're such a young kid. And then he starts really sexually abusing you. You're doing things to him that you think is right. He's telling you it's right, and so you're doing it. And one day he goes a little bit too far, yeah. He gets you to do something. He wipes it all on your jumper. Your mum comes and picks you up to take you home, and when she sees you've got this white stuff on your jumper, and she's taking it and she slaps you around the face for being a naughty boy or whatever, and she's trying to brush it off, but the smell is a smell that mums actually know, you know what I mean? That's funny old smell. So she's like, where'd you get this from? You know, you've been told to keep quiet. You've been told not to tell mum and all this, that and the other, and because if you tell mum would do this and mum would die and fits and things like that. And so you don't tell her. You say, oh, I picked up something and I spilled it on me, I'm sorry. And it goes on. And one day, your mum is this person, goes a little bit far again. And this man penetrates you. This man has sexually abused you sexually, yeah? And as he sexually abused you, he's also split you open downstairs. And when your mum picks you up, you're in pain, you've got a tummy ache, your mum can't make out why, you're getting a little hit round the head for being a naughty boy, keep crying, being sick, and you know, and you get on the trolley bus with your mum, with your brothers and sisters, and because it's so packed, your mum puts you on her lap. And she puts you on her lap, and then she hits you around the head, pulls you off her lap because now her lap is soaking wet. She thinks that you wet her. And as she pushes you off, she realises that it's not wee, it's blood. And it's all coming from your backside. Blood everywhere. She runs down the stairs, stops the bus, gets off the bus, and she's running with you and the others to the house. Yeah, and the police are called. This, that, and the other. He gets done for sexually abusing me. And the guy, it's my uncle. But he's been doing this for months and months and months. This is why I've been crying. This is why I've been having headaches. This is why I've been sick all the time. This is why I'm being mad. Just fighting at school, and I just can't work out why I'm like I've changed. I've changed so much, and I've become really, really bad. They can't handle me. No one can handle me now. I've gone absolutely crazy. The guy gets put down for a long, long time. They take me to hospital. They throw me up down the stairs. I'm in a bad way, yeah. Then I go back to school, and they can't handle me. They just can't handle me at school. I've become too much now. I'm just throwing things around, smashing the classroom up, fighting everybody, throwing chairs at the teachers. And I've got to take me to the doctors, and the doctors can't don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just being permanently sick, permanently on migraine headaches, and just permanently causing so many problems. Hiding all the time in a coal bunker, no one can find me. And they decide that I've got to go in a home for a little while because my mum can't cope. Because I can't blame them, you know. My mum can't cope. She's got 3 jobs and a kid that's driving her mad. And the others are not driving her mad. They're normal kids. They then take me to a home. My mum takes me to a home in Wales, yeah. Obviously, my mum, I'm a son. My mum doesn't want me, but they've told me, mum, that I've got to go there, yeah. So she puts me in this home. This home now becomes worse than the home I've just left, because my mum used to take me down my aunties and uncles, and one of my uncles was sexually abusing me. Now I'm in this home, it seems that everybody is sexually abusing me. We were in dormitories. It's in Wales, and when I first went there, you're in the dormitory. There's loads of people in the dorm, but most of them are young boys. Not many girls in there at all. Young boys. Every day, you're doing something, yeah, and they take you down the beach and this, that, and the other. And one day I've gone down the beach and I caught this eel in a plastic bag, put it in a tank. I can always remember that. And when we used to go in the dorm at night time, I could see these people taking these young kids by the hand, walking them to a door, and I didn't see them again for maybe, I don't know, it seems like a kid. What's an hour to a kid? An hour to a kid's like a lifetime. You know, when mum says next week we're going somewhere, it's a week's like forever. So a young kid, an hour seems like, you know, it's madness. But it seemed like a long, long time. It could have been an hour, it could have been 2 hours. And then they bring kids back sobbing, yeah? And the kids would be eating sweets, but they're sobbing. And I was wondering what it was, where they're taking these kids. And then one day, come up to me, one of the people that run the home, took me by my hand. I was wearing just a pair of pants, walked downstairs, a little vest, walked downstairs into these places that they had people there, and in these rooms, and they took me into a room, and there was a man in there, and I was doing things to him that I'd done before, and my mum told me it was wrong. The police officers told me it was wrong. This, that, and the other. So I'm now thinking it's wrong. It's not a thing to do. It's bad, you know. And I'm trying it anyway. It comes to the thing that I'm doing exactly what they want me to do. I'm doing it. I'm crying. They give me sweets. I'm crying. They give me more sweets. And anyway, then they take you upstairs. You're sobbing. All the other kids are sobbing, and they put you to bed. And this is going on for seems like forever. and then it's one woman and a man, two women, and it goes on. And it goes on and on and on. And this one day, my mum comes and picks me up. My mum comes to pick me up, but you got to remember, yeah, when I first got sexually abused by my uncle, everybody mollycoddled me, bought me sweets and toys and everything like that. So it was so beautiful. You know, even that bad thing happened to me, but it was so nice to get sweets, toys, because this man sexually abused you. So when this has been going on for ages, and ages in this home, it's just one. It's and then it come out later on in years. This home in Wales was a place where they sexually abused kids, and there's a big thing about it. Yeah, and I see it on television and cried with my mum. Anyway, so when my mum came and picked me up, and we went back home, you can't forget I've already been sexually abused by my uncle, so the penetration must have been easier for them than it would be anybody else. Yeah, I used to get me doing things that you wouldn't believe. You know what I mean? And so when my mum picked me up and on the way home, and in home I was telling my mum I was sexually abused, this, that, and the other, but my mum thought it was a game because the way I looked after me the last time, I was getting sweets and toys, so my mum didn't take a lot of notice of it. Yeah, but from that time, being sexually abused at home, from that time, I completely changed. I mean, I was bad before. Now, I become a raving lunatic, crazy. Never stopped fighting, always fighting, never going to school, breaking into shops, nicking all the sweets, nicking all the cigarettes, getting people buying them from me, having paper rounds, throwing the papers in the park, never delivering the papers, and just doing crazy things. Always fighting, always climbing the fences in the park, going over to the fair. My mum was always worried about me where I was, what's going to happen to me again, because being sexually abused. She'd come over the fair looking for me, and I'd be working on the corks, on the rifles, and picking up all the corks and things like that. And my mum would go mad, get home, and I'd always be hiding. And then when I got to school, I'd go to a school called John Perrin. And on the way to school, one day, some old man who used to sit out in the front in his wheelchair called me over. I went over there and he started putting his hands down my trousers, playing with me, yeah? And it seemed to be, I don't know why me. Why was there something that says you can do what you want to do with me? Was that a part of my life? And he did it. He kept on and giving me sweets, and it got to a stage where I liked it because I was going there, he was doing this and giving me sweets. But one day I had enough, yeah? I went to back when I was in John Perrin with my friends. I told them what happened, and I said we're going to go around there, and we got a little gang together, and we just took him in the house and nicked all his money in his purse and whatever, like shillings, 2 and sixpences, all sorts of money, like 5 shilling, all this sort of money. Yeah, we took it. It was like to us, it was a fortune. Going to the shop across the road from me was a shop called Doris's, yeah, right by the level crossings in Acton, and a place called Churchfield Road. Go there and spend my money. And anyway, we was going over the park, bashing up old men who'd be touching us up on the chairs and all that. It became like a little game, but it was like kids now learning to earn money and bash up these people that are sexually abusing kids. That's what it was. And then I just started doing silly things, getting bigger, fighting, more so gang fighting, doing things that kids do, but more so mad kids like me. Robbing people, hammers, guns, knives, robbing everybody. Who cares? Just coming home to my mum. Mum was now pregnant with my other sister, Jackie. And so now my mum's got 4 of us, and she can't cope. I'm going out. I'm working across the road in a blacksmith's here. I'm a young kid going down there working. drilling holes in metal and picking up metal and putting it in stacks. I'm a young kid, 10, 11, but I'm helping. I'm getting money to give to my mum, go to the shop, Doris's, and spend money on things for myself, chocolate. But now, because I feel it was because I was sexually abused as a young child by my uncle and by one in the home, that it made me the person that I am today, yeah? The person that, and people say to me in their comments about the Krays, you wouldn't, why do you hate them so much, this, that and the other, and you think to myself, are these people real? Are these people talking? Are they real? Are they people that do these sort of things to young kids like myself and in homes? Because anybody that reads that they used to sexually abuse young boys and sell young boys to other people, it's really, mate, them people were lucky, to live the life in that era. I have seen them in prison. I did see them in prison. I did see them walking about, but I've never actually shook their hand. I've never actually talked to them yet. I don't know how things would have been, knowing now, more so now, about what it's like, what they did to young kids. Perhaps if I'd have known that then, things would have been a lot different. Would I, you know what? It's a shame, it's shocking, mate, that things that happened in my life, yeah? That young kids, what they done to me, these people done to me as a young kid. And, even now, sometimes I might be walking down the road and I hear kids crying, really, really crying, and I think straight away, oh my God, is this happening to these kids? Are they doing it in the house? It's that sort of thing that goes in my little head now, yeah? And it's not, it's something that's happened, it's something that happened. And listen to me, right? People out there that have not been in prison, and people out there who have been in prison, who maybe never been sexually abused or mentally abused or physically abused, yeah? There's people in prison, I don't know, 40% maybe, 50% maybe, that have been sexually, physically abused, and they put them in prison without any help. And it's the same as people doing the same sentence as me, an IPP. I was very, very dyslexic as a kid at school, used to doing anything, mathematics, English, anything. I was dyslexic. Just couldn't do it. And I think it's because I was sexually abused, that everything went out of my head. Or I was, the wrong things. It was wrong things, bashing up the school teachers, doing things, silly things and all that, school teachers across there with chairs and just getting a cane 24/7. And that's it, that's my life. That was as a kid, and I think to myself, these people in prison have gone through this and they don't get no help. I was very lucky as an IPP, yeah, to get the help I had. I got lots of help from psychology and from these people that talk to me about me being sexually abused and how I felt and this, that and the other. And a lot come out of my head that I've been holding in for years, and it come out, and and I felt better for doing it, for talking about it, like I'm talking about it now. People say, well, well done talking about that sort of thing, but there's so much happens, there's so much more happens that I ain't talking about, you know what I mean? And it's me, and all the sentences I've done in prison, I've done 26 and a half years, and I've been out of prison now 11 years, so it's 37 years, because I'm still unlicensed, so I'm still actually in prison as such, because what can I do? I don't even go out, I don't go to pubs, I don't go to clubs, I don't really do much, because, I don't want to go back away, I don't want to go back in prison, I don't want to be around I don't want to be around a club or pub or bar. It kicks off and there's cameras and I'm there. Get a recall for nothing, and it happens, yeah. Anyway, but as I say, there are people, a lot of people in prison that are even doing IPPs that need help, that need help. And I think that more help should be given in prison for these people that are being... Listen, no one likes being a chap, being a gangster, being this tough man. No one likes to let people know that they've been sexually, physically, mentally abused. No one likes that as kids. You keep it in. But let it out. You've got to let it out. You've got to talk about it because this happens. And the more you hold it in, it's more, so the more it happens to other kids and other people. You've got to be aware of this, and the kids need to get to go to places for help and need help. But you've got to remember, a lot of these people that do this to young kids are people in these high places where you go to for help. They're the ones that are already doing it. So it's hard work anyway. But anyway, I just thought I'd give this little comment and bits and pieces about people that comment me about why I talk about the Krays the way I do, and it's hard when I sat down with Lad Bible, with Chris Lambiano, people like Ronnie Bender, people like gangsters, and there was more in their company, there's more in their firm. Why, I can't make out why these people have kids, why they didn't take the Krays away, why they didn't bury the Krays, knowing full well that they're playing around with kids. That's the only thing I can't make out, And I've often wanted, when I was sitting down on Lad Bible with Chris Lambiano, and you could hear Chris in his voice and his tears could come from his eyes, talking about being put in prison for not really what he should have been put in prison for, 15 years. He maybe should have got 5 years because of the Krays and the judge, Milford Stevens, and what they was told to give him a high sentence because of the government and bits and pieces of what was going on at that time, yeah. But I still can't make out why Chris Lambiano and Ronnie Bender and them sort of people, big heavy people in them days with the Krays, never ever sorted the Krays out and just let them get on with taking young boys and abusing them. I just can't make out why that happens, why that ever happened. And today, Chris Lambiano is doing a big thing with Matt Legg today. You should listen to it. You should listen to this podcast that Matt Legg's going to do with Chris Lambiano. Matt Legg always does a fantastic interviews in his podcasts. I want to ask Chris, as Matt's talking, we've put my little bit down. Ask Chris why the Krays wasn't obliged by everybody because they were sexually abusing the kids. I want to ask Chris that, even when I was sitting with him in Lad Bible, and why it never happened. I was so, I don't know. But when you go in prison, and there's these people in there that physically, sexually abuse kids, believe me, mate, they were getting hurt. Believe me, there was people like myself that was going out looking for these people, that sexually, physically hurt kids. And, anyway, this is Bang Bang Rail. It's a video. There's more to it. There's a lot more to my stories. I want to get on Lad Bible and I want to talk about what I've done to these abusers, in prison. Because people got to realise and know that these people don't always get away with it, yeah? And there's mums, dads out there that these people abuse their little kids, and they're thinking nothing happens, but it does happen. It does happen, believe me, it does happen, and yet sometimes it doesn't happen. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Rail. Please press the like button and subscribe. Good morning.